A little while ago, I introduced you to my new love for mechanical keyboards. Since then, I've been using them day in, day out, and I've got 3 that I've been sent recently that I'd love to share with you. Welcome back to Mark Ellis Reviews, and thank you for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, the button is down there. So a little while ago, I revealed that I've really fallen in love with mechanical keyboards. The reason's simple. They're just really, really enjoyable to use. They're very addictive. And for someone like me, I write all the time. I'm constantly writing blogs and all sorts of things. And it's just lovely to have something to type on that makes that noise. And it's hard to explain unless you've tried them, really. But trust me, they are just so enjoyable to use. And they do make you realise that modern laptop keyboards, and even Apple's Magic Keyboard, there's just not very much travel, and they're not particularly enjoyable to use. These really, really are. And they have such a massive fan base and a really, really passionate bunch of manufacturers. It's hard not to like them. Now, 2 of my favourite brands I've developed a particular affection for recently are Epomaker and IQUNIX. They have been very, very kind to send me some keyboards to try out. This video isn't sponsored by either of those companies. They've just very kindly sent me the keyboards to try out, and you're going to get a warts and all opinion of them. So if you're not sure what mechanical keyboards are, they're the sort of keyboards that you probably used at school. And they're called mechanical because they are mechanical, but that's because they have switches. Beneath these keys, there are switches that you can replace. You can replace the keys very easily as well, and they sound mechanical. They're just like old-fashioned keyboards, but they've been kind of brought up to date with new designs and new technologies, obviously Bluetooth, RGB lights and stuff like that. And they're incredibly durable. That every mechanical keyboard I have in this studio, and there's a lot of them, they're all nice and weighty. They don't have issues with getting crumbs and things in your keyboard, which is a case with certain keyboards from certain manufacturers. They feel bulletproof, but you also know that if anything went wrong, you can just pop off the keys, even pop out the switches and replace them. And you get loads of different types of switches. I don't really understand what all the switches mean, but I've tried all sorts of different versions of them. I just know what feels nice from a typing perspective. I'm not a gamer, mechanical keyboards are fairly popular with gamers as well. This isn't that kind of review. This is a review from someone who just uses them to type on. So let's look at 3 that I've been trying out recently. So the first one is the IQUNIX A80 Explorer. Now this is normally $265, but IQUNIX are pretty good. They normally have some pretty good deals going on, so it's always worth just double checking to see if there's any discounts on offer. Now, as you'd expect, loads of options with the keys that you can pick for this. Mine has the Gateron Red. They're hot swappable, which means you can swap them very hotly, quickly. And it's got what is known as an 80% layout, which basically means it's 10% smaller than traditional keyboards. 83 keys. It's got this, what they call a terraced structure here, which kind of angles the function keys and the escape key up slightly. I'm not sure about that. It looks very, very retro. Probably a little bit too retro for me personally, but I don't know, there's something about having those keys facing you which is a bit unnerving. I'm not sure about it. It's like they demand to be pressed. It's like, here they are. For some people, you might like the design, actually. It's quite interesting. There are 3 angle adjustments on the bottom. So you have these little clips that come out here. That's quite useful. So you can basically get it to just the right angle that you need. And all the marketing material for this particular keyboard, for the A80, suggests that it is really a gaming keyboard. I think gamers will like it. It's nice and small. Again, it's quite plasticky, unlike the F96 that's behind me, which is very metal and just feels very rugged. This one is chunky, it's got a nice bit of weight to it, but it is plastic. So in terms of wearing, it might wear a little bit quicker, I don't know. And I think it's only available in this color. So you're a little bit limited to this kind of yellow, mustardy yellow, kind of gray type color, which doesn't look too bad actually in the flesh, but if you want something a little bit more out there, then it may not be for you. Now, typing on the Gateron Reds, nice sound. It's quite long travel, and I think for some people, when it comes to typing, it might be a little bit too long. Works quite well for me, but I think if you're not used to using mechanical keyboards and you're coming from a laptop keyboard, for example, or an Apple Magic Keyboard, which have very, very thin travel, something like the Gateron Red on this, and on any mechanical keyboard to be fair, might just be a little bit too, need a bit too much effort to press each key down. And just like all IQUNIX keyboards, it has this little switch on the bottom which switches between Bluetooth and wide. Very straightforward. I like it. I don't think I'd buy it personally. I think, again, I don't really like that terraced thing where it puts the function keys in your face. I'm not sure about that personally. It is more of a gaming keyboard, to be fair. And again, the Gateron Red for typing, not ideal personally. So this is quite a niche keyboard, I think. I do wish it came in more colours as well. But if you can get a good price on it, it might suit you if you like the design. Next up is the Epomaker AK84. Sorry, I have to always double check the names of these keyboards. Now this is a Kickstarter project, so by the time you watch this video, depending on when that is, it may still be a Kickstarter project, or it might actually be a real living, breathing product. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of Epomaker's stuff is more budget. And that doesn't mean it's badly made. It is noticeably lighter compared to the IQUNIX stuff. And IQUNIX is, I think, more of a premium brand, so comparing the two is a little bit unfair. But this is a good example of a budget mechanical keyboard that is still very highly regarded. Again, big fan base for Epomaker stuff, and it still feels nice and solid. It's just not quite as heavy as the IQUNIX stuff. Let's get the design out of the way. They sent me one that's got this little panda, if you can see that, a little panda on the spacebar. I don't know why, I have no idea why that's the case. Anyway, that aside, it's a very simple design. Can't get that excited about it, really. And I did ask Epomaker what makes this different. You know, what is it about it that should get us excited, particularly with it being a Kickstarter project? And it has hot swappable keys. It basically has everything that you would expect. You know, it has the RGB lights, obviously Bluetooth. It's primarily aimed at Mac users. It does come with the Mac keys by default, but you can swap them for Windows keys if you want to. But there's not really anything that makes it stand out as a massively innovative keyboard. I think what it is really is just a nice entry point into mechanical keyboards. If you don't want to spend over $100 for a keyboard, for example, this is quite a good starting point. The only thing I'm not keen on is the typing experience. It's a lot less key travel, but the keys feel a little bit cheaper. These are chocolate switches. Again, no idea what that means. Yeah, if this is the experience that chocolate switches give you, for me personally, it's, and this might be because I've got used to mechanical keyboards and I like the longer travel now. It feels a little bit, I don't know, a little bit cheaper really than the other keys I've been using. But again, because there's not that much travel and it's not particularly expensive, it's probably quite a good entry point. So if you just want to try out a mechanical keyboard, I would recommend any of Epomaker's budget range. This sits neatly within inside it, really. Can't get too excited about it. Check it out if you want to just try out the world of mechanical keyboards without spending too much money. Now the next keyboard on my list is the IQUNIX L80 Formula. Now I've been using this quite a bit. It's the one that is currently connected to my 24-inch iMac, $265 normally, but again, IQUNIX run regular promotions. You may get it cheaper. This has the cherry brown switches. Again, loads of options for it. It's hot swappable. It's the same 80% layout as the A80. It has these 3 angles of adjustment on the bottom. And design-wise, I really love this one. I have no idea why it says lime on the back. This might be a reference to something that I'm not familiar with. It might be some kind of reference to some sort of retro gaming or tech or keyboard thing. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments. But I really like the design choice. I love the colours. Doesn't have that raised function area that the A80 has, which again bothered me. It's just a fairly flat design in that respect. But I love the colours. I love the white, I love the red, and it's just a very nicely put together keyboard. It is plastic, but it feels rugged. Just weighty enough as well. And if you want to hear those cherry browns, this is where it gets interesting. For typing, this is the best of the 3, hands down. And it's why I've kept it attached to the 24-inch iMac. It's the perfect, I think, mix between low key travel and too much key travel. I can say that because I don't make as many mistakes on this. I like the sound of it. My fingers don't tire very easily at all. There's just that right balance between sponginess, for want of a better word, and key travel. It just feels right for typing. Now, it's not as good as the F96, which is behind me at the moment. And the F96 I have is the full width one, so it has the number pad on it. I do miss the number pad. Because I got so used to using that F96 with the number pad, I do still find myself, when I'm using this, reaching for numbers that aren't there. But if you're not bothered about that, out of the 3, if you don't mind spending a bit more money on a mechanical keyboard, this L80 Formula is just, I think it's a great expression of a modern mechanical keyboard. I just want to know what lime means. If you know what this means, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, this, out of the 3, this wins hands down. Now, if you missed my original mechanical keyboard video, I will leave a link to it at the end of this one. It's worth watching because I go into a bit more detail as to why I got into them in the first place. I talk a bit more about how they work and all that sort of stuff. So keep watching for a link to that video. But in the meantime, thank you as always for watching this one, and I'll catch you next time.